Realms, they call it. What a fine poetic name for something as rotten and twisted as our land has become. It was not always so. Long ago, the old empire, the noblest and most enduring society created by humankind, spanned almost the entire continent of Zerine, the cradle of man. But after several millennia of progress and incomparable achievements, inevitably, the empire began to fall into stagnation and decadence. Desperately holding on to their privileges and resisting change while trying to avert the collapse of the realm, the emperor and his theocracy took to measures that were worthy of true despots in cruelty. Subjugating weaker realms, enslaving whole nations, strip mining foreign resources, oppressing imperial citizens, war on several fronts, genocide. Eventually, the gods could no longer tolerate such horrors wrought in their name. Foretold by an abundance of divine omens, they descended upon the empire to right its wrongs. Thus, in a chain of dreadful events that became known as the Calamity, they annihilated the empire in a matter of days. The gods then finally saw what they had done in their anger and confusion. It is said that so much grief and shame filled them that they were broken and they left this reality, never to return. The continent and its inhabitants seemed dead, but at length survivors began to crawl out of their hiding holes and faced a land that no longer welcomed them. Arcane anomalies, the fallout of the Calamity, now riddled the continent, and people realized that they had to share their new home with changed and twisted creatures. Terrible beings entered through the cracks in the tapestry of reality, arose to rule over the natives. In time, these new powers rebuilt the fallen empire in their own image, and the Riven Realms, now godless and vengeful, reincarnated from the ashes. The inhabitants of the land, such as I, now eke out a living under the crushing rule of the new empire. The continent itself constantly resists our every attempt at building a cozy home for ourselves. As travel is dangerous, many ventures specialize in transferring cargo and passengers over bleak and deadly leagues of land. Others try to take everything of value from said travelers, or attempt to find buried treasures among the ruins of the old empire. The leaders of the endeavors are, some say, the bravest men and women of the Riven Realms. Such a leader is called a Vagrus.
Ooh. All right. I'm making some coffee. Or some tea, I think. Not coffee. And then I'll have to go in a little bit and go and grab my laundry. But that's an hour and 30 minutes away. So right now, or last, we stopped in the last oasis. Where we found this lady. I didn't finish talking to her entirely. Ask her about the oasis. The oasis is pretty much exactly as it appears. Duzani nods her chin towards the door. It is so remote that nobody here... It is so remote that nobody lives here for any longer period of time, except for some outcasts such as yours truly and the tribeless Sadirar, who are the keepers of the place, and they are just honest folk mostly interested in growing plants and cultivating orchards. The last oasis is surely much too ominous a name, if you ask me. A Shalimi blessing. Blessing of spirits. Shalimi blessing in... Okay. What does a Shalimi blessing do? Blessing of spirits. What does that do? Maximum resourcefulness. 10 vigilance, 2 max morale, 5 combat strength active while defender in crew combat. What was the other thing then? Did this get... Oh, you can only have one blessing? No, I don't think that's true. No, this is... No, this is a Shalimi blessing. This is 2 resourcefulness. Blessing of spirits. Lower chance of spectre ambushes, vigilance, perceptive. Okay. Only lasts for 8 days. Alright. Yeah, that's it. It's not even worth sleeping here. Let's head out. Rest here instead. Now we go and check out the fort. Yeah, I don't want the mercenary. The mercenary was for the guys in the sand town, but they didn't want him. In 1 insight? We have 3 insight. Forlorn and forgotten, the ruins of the old imperial fortress that was meant to turn the tide of war against Dragmalak now stands as a monument to the might of the Black Brood instead. Whispers keep spreading about a haven for scum and villainy hiding among the broken walls and shattered towers. Here at the end of the world, who would notice? Oh, they have cheap supplies. Some scrap metal. Good chitin price. I'm just gonna get rid of it. What about dragon steel? Not in demand. Yeah, I don't know exactly where to sell the dragon steel. Alright. I think I want some more soldiers than that. The Haggard Camp. The sad camp inside the ruins of the broken fort is made up of a couple of hastily constructed huts and ragged tents. The decrepit inhabitants huddle around a handful of fires. Most of them do not even look up as you pass by. Tough-looking armed men are gathered at a hut where they sell cheap booze. Mingle and chat with people. Most of the people here do not wish to talk to anyone and prefer to keep to themselves. You exchange some words with the mercenaries drinking at one of the huts, but they too seem quite reticent. They're probably on a job they wish to remain tight-lipped about. Eventually, a disgusting rat of a man approaches you and say that his master would like to have a word. Against your better judgment, you follow him to a remote hut of salvaged stone. Inside, an unassuming-looking fellow in worn but sturdy clothing welcomes you. "They call me the Quiet Man," he says casually, "and I thought that a well-traveled person such as yourself might be interested to know that I pay good silver for information, especially sensitive things the powerful would like to keep to themselves. Should you be interested in such deals, come back later and we can talk." You tell him that you will give it a thought, then go back out to the fort's courtyard. Inside his cozy hut, the Quiet Man is sitting at his desk, constantly poring over letters and slips of parchment. He is willing to pay well for sensitive information. Ask him about this place. The Quiet Man leans back and considers his surroundings briefly. "A place of opportunities more than anything else," he says after a momentary pause. "If there ever was a place that proved how looks can be deceiving, this is it. Fort Refuges is more than the sum of its parts, but I'm certain that you've already figured this out. Whatever brought you here to the end of the world is certainly something that cannot be done anywhere else." Ask him about himself. The Quiet Man leans back in his chair upon hearing your request, a faint bemused smile on his face. "I am just a humble merchant. My wares are knowledge and information," he says calmly, "and I am called the Quiet Man for a good reason. I don't gossip. That I leave to my clients. Suffice to say that whoever I work for wishes to remain shrouded in mystery, for now." He turns his attention back to his parchments, indicating in no uncertain terms that he does not wish to discuss this further. Look for deals. Bronze armaments. Trapping nets. I don't think we have that. Capture damage in crew combat. Dwarven firebombs. Scout combat strength. What the fuck? Sell moondust. Steel armaments go for 128. How did this piss? Oh, thanks for the sub. I didn't hear that. Didn't notice. Got me while I was away. Getting my tea. That's how I roll. I'll autocorrect your sentence for you. Today, I've been doing the worst thing in the world. I hate it. Been doing laundry all day. And it's even worse because I don't like doing laundry, so I don't do the laundry. So I'm on like the sixth machine now or something. It's crazy. Ooh. I'm gonna buy some trapping nets. You never know. Harvick wants to talk to you in private. The tainted mercenary takes you to an unoccupied part of the ruins and points to an isolated tent across the courtyard through a crack in the wall. "That's her tent right there," he growls, and when you ask him who he is talking about, he gives you a nasty grin. "Her name's Cleora. A whore, a traitor, one of the fuckers on my list, boss. The bitch was instrumental in betraying me, so I owe her a slit throat for making me end up in Purgatoria." You ask him how he wants to go about it. He gives it a brief thought. "Four-man job," he nods to himself. "I asked around. She's alone, though, for some of the mercs at camp are looking out for her, so you just sneak in at night, and I'll do the deed while you watch my back. Just let me know if this is the night, eh?" Alright, let's go and stab her in the head. Looks good. You wait for nightfall. Part of the camp quietens down. Quietens down. Yeah, that is correct. Quietens down while others in the occupied ruins are busy drinking themselves into oblivion around campfires. Once he makes sure that his target went to sleep, Harvick takes the team of the four of you across the ruined courtyard, trying to avoid lights and groups of people that are awake. Spend points. Nobody sees you reaching and surrounding the isolated tent. Harvick crawls in and you can hear the sound of a struggle from inside. A woman's voice protesting briefly, then a pained yelp. The mercenary bursts out of the tent, fresh blood on his nasty knife, and the four of you disappear into the night, just as a handful of hired thugs come investigating the ruckus. This was a successful operation. Harvick gained loyalty. Once you're back at the Comitatus, Harvick is all quiet. His usual calmness has been replaced by a nervous silence that is broken briefly once you ask him about the events that transpired. "Thank you, boss. It had to be done. Betrayers such as her must pay the price in the end. We had something. Long ago. Doesn't matter now. I'll lie down now." He walks away, not wishing to discuss this further. Night comes and goes. Poor fella. Alright, I don't think there's anything that you can buy here either. Hide price is bad here. Yeah. Which means we have to leave. The Dwarven Firebombs. I'll buy that. Well, but I won't use them. Eitrar. Okay, we want to go up there. I think we can march today, though. It was not worth marching. We traveled the same distance, really. Eitrar. Kotrar. Hard stone and luminous crystals constitute this remote village that lies in the shadow of the great mountains of the west. Its inhabitants, the Eitrar tribe, worship the great earth spirit, and so they interpret the rumbling of the ground that is so common this close to the once great dwarven kingdom as the voice of their deity. Indeed, the exquisite bounties of the earth that the people so casually gather here seem to indicate that some sort of divine will is at work. Mountainside village, home of the Eitrar tribe. You enter the confines of Eitrar's low walls while the Comitatus camps outside, stretched across the spine of a milder incline of the mountainside. It was built on terraces, its sturdy buildings interspersed with standing stones and crystal totems. Far above the peak of the great mountain is hidden from sight by the ashen clouds hanging low in the sky. Look around in the hopes of finding the hunter Burek. Upon mentioning a hunter from a foreign land, the locals tell you about a stone hut several hundred yards north of the village. The huntsman lives there alone. Accompanied by Vorax, you hike across Aetrar, down into a ravine on the northern slope, onto a ledge overlooking a great chasm. There's a dome-shaped hut built from the local brownish stone stands, precariously close to the edge. As you approach it, a man appears in the doorway and hails you with a wave of his hand. Coming closer, you can see that he is wearing loose desert robes and pants along with a hood. All his apparel matches the brown-gray of your surroundings. His face is sunbeaten and tanned, displaying a constant frown, defeated more than mistrustful. "So you found me," he says in a raspy voice when you walk up to him. Vorax grins. "Hey, old friend," the undead chef claims. "Good to see you." Burek nods with a faint smile and bows his head to you as a way of greeting. He invites the two of you to sit down by the campfire outside his hut. He offers you some water and asks Vorax why he has come to find him at the end of the world. "I need your expertise, Burek, in acquiring a Jakar Teidbut, no less, but one that is imbued with a magical substance instead of spices and tinctures." Vorax holds a dramatic pause, peering at his old acquaintance, and the hunter nods, slowly. "I owe you for that dinner at the Dustwind Outpost," Burek says after a pause, "and I happen to know of an alpha that would make do. If you get the proper bait, prepare it for the hunt. I'll do the rest. Some lures and slime grass will do." Vorax is beside himself with joy upon hearing that the hunter is willing to help his venture. Ask how he knows Vorax. "How do we know each other?" Burek's question is rhetorical. Vorax chuckles. "First time we met was, the undead cook scratches his chins. "Where? The inn at the Briar Fields? No, that was later." "It was an inn, all right," Burek nods. "In Kabur, where you worked as a cook at the Golden Lamp. I brought you game for some meals. The inn at the Briar Fields came later. But to be truthful, even though we had met before, our friendship began with the Dustwind Outpost dinner." "Right," Vorax claps. "Got yourself into quite a mess, old friend." Burek looks at you, sighs, then begins to explain. "I was caught by a terrible ash storm after I left the camp of Jaluak tribe of Ashmen. They were kind enough to offer their hospitality for months on end, but I began to feel that I was overstaying my welcome. Anyhow, the storm hit, and I had to find shelter at the outpost. This was years and years ago. Bounty hunters were looking for me all over Terra Supra. So I get to the outpost and I find Vorax, an acquaintance working as a cook. I also find bounty hunters huddled in the common room, or more accurately, they found me. It was a standoff, all right. They couldn't decide who should get the bounty. After the first man was slain, they agreed to a temporary truce and sat down to eat. Me, bound and gagged, sitting in a corner. An hour passes, and I see that the bounty hunters are becoming doozy, one by one falling asleep. Once they were all sleeping, out comes Vorax, unties me, feeds me, and talks to me long into the night until the damned storm finally ceased, and I got away on one of the hunters' Ifriani. A pinch of the right herbs, Vorax shrugs innocently. I had to. You would have been executed, old fool. Dead or alive, they said. They were discussing how to cut you into pieces. And I'm forever grateful, Burek nods. Ask Burek about his people, the Bandul. The home of my people, the Bandul, is the Bronze Desert up northwest. As you may know, the hunter begins to speak and pours you some cool water from a water skin. My ancestors have been roaming that land for countless generations, having learned to eke out an honest living in the desert. Then the Imperials came and brought slavery. To us, condemning someone to live in such bonds is worse than death. So we fought but lost. The Iron Legions subjugated my land. Burek stares at the horizon dreamily for a while. Then came the great burning of the world, followed by the harshest time my people had to face. But we were born to roam the desert, and even though our home was now unbearably hot and dry, we survived, clinging to the oases. Then the Imperials returned, darker and fouler than before, and ever since most of my people have had to bow to them. That is how we are that is how we are, well, except for the few that leave. Ask Burek how he ended up here. Burek smiles faintly, a rare sight. When I was young, I was quite hot-headed, he admits. I took up arms against the Imperials, fell in with warriors who preyed upon Komitati led by outsiders. My bow and blade felled many, and not all of them deserving. In the end, my family paid for my attempts at becoming a hero. There's no beating the Empire, not like that. Burek makes a sign with his hand, putting it to his chest, to pay his respects to the dead, apparently. I was wandering the continent for quite some time. There's no point in going into details, but no matter how far I went, no matter how I changed, the Empire could not forget my transgressions. I was a hunter hunted. In the end, I came here. Nobody comes here without good reason. And the Aetrar were kind enough to allow me to stay. There's good hunting here too. I think I'll spend the rest of my days here, in blessed silence. Discuss what the hunt will involve. Burek explains that there is a huge Chakra Alpha in the vicinity that would be ideal for what Vorax has in mind. The Aetrar haven't chased it away because it hasn't bothered the tribe yet, the hunter says, but it's only a matter of time because this beast is gathering a pack large enough to pose a serious threat. Their lair is in a cave up north, at the end of a ravine. If we're to do what Vorax wants to do, we'll need bait. Quite a lot, actually. We'll have to blend the divine ichor into it, so that once the creature eats it, the substance can prepare its stomach the way I want, Vorax adds. Then we'll also need some slime grass, too, to mask the odor of your ingredient. Once we make sure the alpha eats the bait, we'll wait 3 days, then draw it into a trap, slay it, and you can extract your imbued stomach. Vorax claps excitedly. Can't wait! Can't wait! Okay. But what about the actual what about the quest? Oh well. Audition for an audience with the shamans. The earth shamans of the Aetrar tribe are the undisputed leaders of their people. Their stoic but stalwart nature is the rock-solid foundation that their society is built upon. The daily gathering of Aetrar's most influential shamans can be attended by outsiders as well, so you trudge over to the decorated entrance of the caverns, where the meeting takes place. Inside it, living glowing crystals provide light, and the exquisite cave paintings depicting Aetrar's history stretch along many walls. The shamans sit in a circle in the middle of the largest hall, their decisive voices echoing among stalagmites and neighboring chambers. They discuss the important matters of the tribe, as well as listen to news and propositions from outsiders. After a lengthy discussion of what the Earth Spirit commands, you get the chance to address the shamans. You think about what to ask from them. Trade. Dwarven gadget. Oh, the medical supplies are actually quite cheap here. You can buy some. Mining equipment. I can sell Sadirar bone necklaces. They are worth 3 lurg, which is nothing. You can sell a handful. You can sell 5 at a time. I have 28. It's still gonna take like a decade. There we go. Tribal trinkets. That's not worth a lot. Alright. Ask about the Aetrar. We are the Aetrar of the Sadirar people. Our ancestors survived the shattering that destroyed the tribes of the forgotten people that poisoned the land. Before the earth and the skies opened to decimate the world, our ancestors heeded the warnings of the great spirits and hid underground where it was safest. Later, the spirits led our ancestors out of the caves and across the searing plains. They showed us how to survive and where to live. Yet the places beneath the earth remained blessed and had to be looked after, for Earth Spirit was the one who protected us from complete destruction during the Shattering, and so the Aetrar are protectors, builders and delvers, who stayed close to the bones of the world. Thus Earth Spirit adopted us and we adopted it. We command the earth and soil when we need to. We explore caverns and fashion tools from crystals and metal alike. Rare things in the world since the Shattering, and we, like all the 4 tribes, send emissaries to the village of Sadirar, who guide our people in matters that concern all of us. The other shamans nod in agreement, after he had concluded his speech. You ask him if the Kotrar are their enemies. We do not always see eye to eye with the Kotrar, one of the elders admits. They are more nomadic and erratic than what our tribe prefers, but the Sadirar are wise enough to see that these differences make us stronger, not weaker. There is a balance that the great spirits strive for, and we need all the 4 tribes to maintain that balance. It is in nobody's interest to repeat the Shattering, and thus we are allied and friends to the other tribes, even though our ways are our own, and we share a bloody history. Earth Spirit and Wind Spirit are not enemies. They complement each other, and so do the Aetrar and Kotrar. Ask for a blessing. The shamans discuss this briefly among themselves in their native tongue. Then one of them, a young woman, turns to you. You are not yet touched by Earth Spirit, and so not yet the friend of the Aetrar. If that is your wish, if you want our blessing, prove to us that you are worthy. Undertake on the trial of Earth, something that our people do once they become of age. Would you be willing to do this? Take on the trial. You tell the shamans that you will take up the trial of Earth. There's a murmur of approval that washes over the gathering in the cavernous hall. You are to enter the Grotto of Reflection, outsider. The young shaman instructs you. These caverns are the most sacred for our tribe, and they stretch far and deep into the roots of the mountain. Once you descend, the bowels of the earth will take you through the trial. Should you fail the task presented to you down there, you can always try again. But be careful, the grotto can be a dangerous place. Go to the shaman's cavern. Oh. Enter the Grotto of Reflection. That's the cavern we're trying to go into. The entrance of the grotto, located at the far side of the village, is decorated with crystal effigies, tribal symbols painted in earth colors and reds, and dream catchers of all sizes. 2 older tribesmen were placed here to guard the caverns, although you suppose that their role is more about offering guidance to those that are allowed to enter. They welcome you politely and tell you to go in only if you are ready to face the trials that Earth Spirit places before you. Expect a tough challenge. A protector of the spirits must be able to stand firm and have their wits about them. Who is not here? The cold, dry caverns lead steeply into the bowels of the earth. Sometimes you spy the sky through narrow cracks on the cave's roof, but these grow less and less frequent as you progress, and so you eventually leave the light from outside behind, and so the only source of illumination is whatever you brought down here, at least until you reach the first cluster of crystals, growing naturally on the wall and ceiling, providing a faint purple glow to indicate the path. As you make your way deeper and deeper into the grotto, you begin to notice cave paintings on the larger surfaces. They illustrate stories of hunts and wars as well as great spirit rituals, probably the most important ones from the history of the Aetrar. Then you get to some of the more interesting ones, which seem to tell the tale of a great cataclysm that was visited upon the world. There is a great mountain, at the peak of which several prominent-looking figures are raising their hands to what look like beings of light, painted stark golden yellow. In the next image, these orbs of living light lead what looks like a tribe into holes in the earth, while the sky opens and fire rains down on the land. The next few images paint a haunting picture of what could only be the calamity. A blackened, twisted spirit seems to be overlooking the devastation, surrounded by a dozen or so dark flame orbs. But the tribe is safe beneath the earth, and when they emerge in the next image, they are divided into 4 and go in different directions, turning to orange, blue, white, and brown, mimicking the beings of light that also changed color. You leave the cave paintings behind and reach a corridor that is so crowded with crystal formations that you can see as well as in daylight. Beyond, just across a natural archway, is a chamber filled with crystals that reach the height of people. Enter the crystal chamber. The crystal chamber is endlessly varied clusters of magnificent... The crystal chamber and its endlessly varied clusters are magnificent to behold. Or they would be if you were not stirred from your astonishment from a loud cracking noise. Turning towards it, you can see that 2 piles of crystals somehow came to life, and taking a vaguely human form, they start to lumber toward you. Each footstep a clap of thunder. What's up? They're really weak. Fists. They don't even have armor. That's very surprising. Immune to poison. Yeah, they are entirely immune to poison, so this does nothing. Oh! Ouch. With a deafening crushing noise, the last creature shatters on the floor. To your surprise, its light does not dissipate, but leaves behind a broken shell and floats into a cluster nearby. That formation, now luminous thanks to the new energy dancing in it, is colored differently towards the top. One crystal is dark green, the other is pure white, while the last one is bright golden yellow. You become alarmed briefly as a voice begins to form in your mind. The light of the great spirits will reveal the true path. Looking around, you can see that you reached a dead end, which is confirmed by your companions, unless the crystals somehow reveal a hidden path. Several prominent-looking figures are raising their hands to what looks like beings of light, painted stark golden yellow. In the next image, these orbs of living light lead what look like a tribe into holes in the earth while the sky opens and fire rains on the land. Black and twisted spirit seems to be overlooking the devastation, surrounded by a dozen or so dark flame orbs. But the tribe is safe beneath the earth, and when they emerge in the next image, they are divided into 4 and go in different directions, turning to orange, blue, white, and brown, mimicking the beings of light that also changed color. Blue, white, brown. Orange, blue, white, brown. Okay, so white is the correct, just by order of elimination. It's either yellow or white, but white is probably earth then. The crystal is cold to the touch, and the light in the cluster goes out as soon as you poke it. Nothing happens for a while, then you hear approaching footsteps and a group of Eitrar shamans walks in through the tunnel you took here. They tell you that this time you have failed, but you are welcome to return tomorrow, or when you feel that you can undertake the trial again. Fuck you? Genuinely, fuck you? It could have been either. Like, okay. I mean, maybe it was the true, like... Sure. Sure. Whatever. Let's just go again. Let's just go again. Let's just go again. Same start, I miss. Vorax literally cannot do anything here. The taunt doesn't do anything. So then it has to be yellow. Because the yellow is the, like, fused color of the original spirit. The yellow crystal is warm and your fingertips tingle gently from its touch. There is a loud crack and a part of a wall section opens organically, like clay being pulled apart, all on its own. Behind it is a new corridor, leading down into the darkness. You descend through the corridor. Descending a set of natural-looking stairs, you go even deeper, and wonder how far down in the mountain you are by now. You try to imagine what secrets lie dormant in the perpetual darkness at the root of the oldest mountains. At length you enter a vast chamber where tribal symbols painted on the walls are interspersed by glowing crystalline formations. The cavern opens onto a large pit about 60 feet in. It is so deep that you can only see darkness below. Piles of sacrificial gifts line several flat stones on the ledge. Then suddenly, one of the many large crystalline formations moves with a loud crack, and you come face to face with another crystalline creature. It walks towards you with thunderous footfalls, and a malevolent glow inside its transparent body. Oh, a big one. This guy has armor. Alright. What does mark target do, Renkylon? Can't. I don't know. Okay. Renkylon mark target. I think maybe we do that. It didn't work. Huh? Why didn't it work? Anyway. She can ignore armor. I think Harvick's charge attack ignores armor, that's why I did that. Yes. At least it ignores a little bit of armor. But I think it ignores armor entirely. How did you do 0 damage when your attack is supposed to ignore some armor? Or maybe it only ignores a little bit of armor. A lot of skills ignore just 1 armor. Zero to 2 damage. Yeah, it ignores 1 armor. The damage is still wrong, I think. Or, no, that's what the red means. It means that this skill bypasses it. Okay, never mind. Yeah, it bypasses 1, brings it down from 3 armor. Fair enough. Vorax needs armor. I need to start leveling up my companions more soon. The last echoes of the struggle against the crystal creature abate, and you can take a better look around. Apart from the sacrificial gifts, trinkets, jewelry, dried food, there seems to be nothing of interest here. Unless... You walk to the ledge above the endless fall into darkness and glance down. For a long while, only pitch blackness stares back at you. But then a light, dim at first, flares up in the unfathomable depth of the pit and moves. Its golden hues dance from one place to the next, until you realize that the glow inhabits crystal formations far below you. Ones that are colorless, until the yellow wisp leaps into them. This movement continues like a convoluted dance, and at the same time all the crystals up at the ledge begin to emit their own light. The normally quiet tinkling sound they emit becomes louder and more pronounced until you perceive a pattern to them. They sigh music, faint at first, but the rhythm is there, and then there is the sense of something arriving, some great consciousness suddenly becoming aware of your existence. You can feel a presence now, vast, timeless, immovable, and old, like the mountains themselves. It is deep, deep below you in the bottomless pit at the root of the mountain. It speaks to you, yet you cannot make out words, only feelings, the simple joy of encountering something new, sadness for not being able to convey meaning. The recognition of a fellow wandering spirit, and finally, a warmth that can only be likened to a parent's love for their progeny. Moments later, the vast unseen presence is gone, but the warmth remains for a long time to come. You stand there at the precipice for a while, unable to move or say anything. Only pulled out of your reflections when a group of shamans appears. They tell you that you have completed the trial of Earth. Break off a small crystal, fashion it into an effigy, and hand it over to you. You ask them if it was Earth Spirit you encountered. It was a spirit, one of the oldest and greatest, one of the shamans replies. But whether or not it was Earth Spirit, we cannot say. It is unlikely that it would contact an outsider, although it has happened before. This place is a nexus for spirits, Wanderer, and many of them come here from time to time. Be glad that you are now blessed. Take the effigy to the council, who will recognize it as a symbol of your success. They escort your group to the surface, leaving you contemplating what you have experienced in the grotto. 3 XP. Go to the shaman's cavern. Inform them about the success of the Trial of Earth. Once you present the crystalline effigy to the shamans, they stand up and start singing in lengthy song of initiation. Blessed rocks are passed around, and you have to hold them while wet clay is smeared across your face and limbs. Even though it is odd and uncomfortable, nothing harmful happens. You are now blessed by Earth Spirit Friend, the oldest of the shamans says, touching your forehead. But you can return to us from now on to be blessed again. We are honored to have an outsider such as yourself among the defenders of all that is holy. It is also our custom to share the boons of the earth with such allies as you from time to time. You can ask for the gift of earth every 6 days or so from now on when you are here in Atrar. It seems that your efforts were not in vain. They take you to the place where the boon is divided. In accordance with their promise, the shamans instructed the locals to give you a portion of the boon of the earth they collect from the smaller tribes of the mountains each week. It is time again to distribute the boon of the earth. It is time again to distribute the boon the earth gave the Atrar, and you receive your gift too. You will have to take your pick between minerals or edible produce. Both are equally blessed by Earth Spirit. Flavo crystals. Wow. Ask about the voices in the obsidian. Once you explain your strange experience with the presence in the obsidian, the shamans exchange knowing looks, and several of them draw you aside to talk about the matter. They take you to a side chamber, lit by a pale blue glow emanating from the crystal clusters hanging from the walls and ceiling. You can see wisps of light move around in the formations in a way pollywogs would in a pond. As you can see, friend, certain rare spirits often dwell in wondrous crystals. The leader of the shamans point to the spirits inside the formations. Perhaps you have seen it elsewhere. We also came across larger spirits, often impossibly elaborate beings, of thought and light, inhabiting the vast expanses of crystal imperials called Calorus. Almost hypnotized by the wisp of light, you ask the shamans if obsidian can sustain such spirit as well. There is a moment of worried silence before they respond. Not that we know of, but that doesn't mean we haven't experienced what you have. The black blood of the mountain does seem to whisper to those sensitive to such presences, sometimes in dreams, sometimes in the waking world. Whatever speaks through the obsidian, however, is not the kind of spirit we revere. There is a will behind it, a purpose, even. But there is also a malevolence that spirit callers cannot easily ignore. It is almost as if something, a presence, was imprisoned beneath the mountains there, and it learned to touch the minds of mortals using the obsidian as a medium. You shiver involuntarily. The shamans advise you to try to forget about this and do not listen to the whispers of the obsidian. Okay. So do I need more beast lures? Like, I don't really understand why I can't do this thing. Larnak. So what was the idea? Pectum Carvos, Last Oasis, Etrar, Kotrar, Vitrar, Utvorar, Avernum. Where am I going? What am I doing right now? Quathos. Reach 400 preparedness. Okay. Medical supplies maximum 20. Okay. So I sold them 100, so that didn't do anything. I guess. We're only missing this last bottle, but I don't know where to go to get it. Hula-lood. I'm guessing it's in Sadirar. Okay, here we need to go to Avernum. Ooh. Ooh, A spicy sausage. Cough, cough. No. Nothing here worth buying either. Maybe ivory. No. Nothing. Alright. Isn't Sadirar supposed to be up here somewhere? I think it is. Yeah, there it is. Let's go visit Sadirar. This place sucks to travel. No? Click. Had you played Wartail? Yeah, I played it once, but it was ages ago. I didn't play it that much. I thought it wasn't that good. And for me, it was two things. It was that it wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be, which was like Battle Brothers. Like I at the time I played it, I wanted the games to just be like a mercenary sim and like procedural blah blah blah, right? Which it isn't. It's you're playing in a set world, and it's like it's basically a storyline. It's kind of like Battle Brothers with a set world, and you go in more like a linear fashion. But it was also just the quality of the writing wasn't really that good, from what I remember. That was like the main issue. I don't remember if the combat was good or the quests or whatever. It was too long ago that I played it. I can't really remember. I don't know if it's worth it or not. I can't say. I would play it again to give it a try, but... So I can't say like a definite yes or no. I don't know. I thought it was a bit like this, but with more combat. Not exactly. Like, you see how you have like this whole world here, right? If you instead imagine that the game is like this, you start here, and then there's like a road, and then here at the water, there's like... It's like, there are like guards there that won't let you go until you do like a quest, which is going to a cave here to hunt some bandits, and you can't go anywhere else. That's what the game is like. It's like kind of like this in presentation, but it's actually just like a very like linear-ish RPG. At least in the beginning. I don't know if it opens up more later. It's not quite like this, yeah. It felt more like a side quest sim, like you're just going around doing side quests, really. Which isn't like a bad thing for a sim, but it's like, because in a sim, that's what you're doing. You're just going around doing stuff, right? It's not necessarily about the main story or whatever. But when the game is about doing a main story and you're just going around doing side quests the whole time, I think that's usually a problem. Saddling the feet of the hallowed mountain of Kor, the most sacred place of the Sadirar people, this village is the closest to a capital for these desert-dwelling nomads. Few are awarded the right to address or even see the council of shamans that governs all the tribes from this remote, desolate place, and not many travelers come here to trade or negotiate in the first place. And yet the village named Sadirar thrives. It is indeed due to the blessings of the great spirits, or merely to the toiling of the religious zealots. If it is indeed due to the blessings of the great spirits, or merely to the toiling of religious zealots, is difficult to say. Yeah. I really want to start programming games again, but there's so much going on with work right now, I don't have time. I really want to start doing something simpler. Like, I've been trying to make, like, 3D engines and shit, and I kind of just want to make some kind of map game, I think. Just to make something easy. Maybe once things settle down a little bit, but I think they won't for a while. The village, halfway up the sacred mountain, home of the Overtribe. The sacred mountains of Kor looms high above the Sadirar, the village of the Overtribe, its peak engulfed in almost constant ash storms, emerging from the molten kingdom to the west. But here, halfway up the mountain, the air is mild, warm, and only slightly tinged with sulfur. Most visitors are only allowed into the outer village, where the envoys and elders of the tribes live in a huge walled compound further up. Visit the steward's hut. The people called stewards, basically anyone not a shaman or envoy from the tribes, live in lines of stone huts that make up the vast majority of the lower village's buildings. They are generally quite helpful. There is also a single tavern here, where most travelers lounge before setting out across the wasteland again. Talk to the travelers at the tavern. Several like-minded travelers are idling under the canopy of colorful awnings on the terrace of the tavern. Called the tavern for the lack of competition as well as imagination, apparently. However, the place turns out to be very pleasant. The prices are reasonable. The staff is quietly efficient, and the view is astonishing. You end up talking to quite a few travelers. Everyone has a story to tell or news to share, but a common topic seems to be Dwendar Thar, the nearby molten kingdom of the dwarves of old. Some of the mercenaries, explorers, and adventurers here apparently came to Sadirar to start expeditions into the lost city of Quathos at the far side of Tarar Barak. However, due to the recently started volcanic activity over the Grim Plains, these ventures had to be postponed indefinitely. Some entrepreneurs are beginning to give up on them altogether. Oh, is that what this is? Quathos? Is this the, this might be the DLC. Quathos. Scrap heap. Also, I will be honest. If it turns out that like a bunch of these towns, like Kabur, Radan, Hot. Dabasa. If these don't exist in the game, I will be actually mad. You better not be like just permanently locked out of these places. I will be very upset. Like Dragmalak here, for example, you have 2 cities. But if you go in here, you get accosted by dragons, flying dragon guys. So it's like, okay. Is there some way to get in there at all? I don't know. It seems like you can fight them. But like, that seems like a bad way to get in there. Ask the stewards about Sadirar. The stewards are happy to answer your questions regarding the great shamans in their village. They are people of the tribes, but due to the service they perform to the overtribe and their consequent exposure to outsiders, they look, talk, and behave quite unlike most Sadirar do. You learn that they look upon this service, which involves dealing with the day-to-day operations of the village, as a great honor, since the Shaman's Council is the highest organization of authority for their kin. The village of Sadirar was built to accommodate the Council of Shamans, to which all tribes delegate some of their own spirit callers, and which debates issues that concern all Sadirar, often deciding the fate of the tribes, since this takes all the energy of these leaders. It was only natural to have a caste that exists to maintain their settlement and serve all their needs. The place itself was selected because it is halfway up the side of the mountain of Kor, the most sacred location of the tribes. It was here that they contacted the great spirits according to legend, and where they received guidance on how to survive the calamity. Ask the stewards if you can see the shamans. The stewards inform you that the Council of Shamans is very busy at all times, and so they only see individuals whose purpose is in alignment with the spirits. The easiest way to prove that is to gain the blessings of all the 4 great tribes, Eitrar, Kotrar, Vitrar, and Utvarar. Return here with all 4 boons and you will be allowed to address the council. Okie doke. Supplies, scrap metal, and they have nothing else. Lava crystals are pricey here. You can sell dragon bone here. The price is only 25 though. Is that good or bad? We are in Sadirar. 375. I think that's actually a good price. I think this is the best place to sell the dragon bone. $25 each. It would be pretty shit if you can't visit the whole map. Yeah. I mean, like, I get it. It makes sense that things outside of the map would exist in the world, right? But the fact that it's there, especially since it's marked out as cities, really makes you think that you can go there. But I think you can. I think you can. But I'm not sure. I think the game is quite big. The reason I think that is because when I look at a character, right? I'm level 3 on this guy. So, or it's called prowess. So in order to get to prowess 5, to prowess 3, I don't know how much that costs. Maybe like 15 insight, which is XP. Right? And right now I'm getting like 1 insight here and there. I got like 3 insight for finishing the quest, for going into the crystals and stuff like that. And if we look at like max level for a companion, it costs 51 insight to get to the last level there. Here it's 40, 30, 21. So I just feel like there's a lot left, right? Because my guys are like barely leveled up at all. Which, by the way, we can level someone up, maybe. Garrick can level up. Nadir can level up. Who would want a level up? Ren Kylon? Getting a better pistol shot would be nice. It's 3 accuracy, 5 crit chance, and 1 damage. But I can't level up Gas Bomb. It's already level 2. Would be cooler if it was like a Great Unknown. Yeah, maybe. But it's also like... It's not necessarily unknown either. But it is. Because this is just one country, really. That's what this is meant to be. It's just like an island country. And up here, there's supposed to be another nation. Like, honestly, if I'm gonna be honest, I hate DLCs. Like, the DLCs for this game is $20 to unlock like a little ruin here that has like a little map on it and some exploration. And another DLC is the Outer Realms that we teleported to. If I want an expansion for a game, I expect it to look like this. Like, really. Like a $20-25 expansion for this game, in my opinion, should be like the northern continent here. Not this. And that's how DLCs have shaped. I hate DLCs so much. Because I feel like they have allowed developers to like piecemeal like basically patches out into content, and it always has a bad feel to it. Because if I bought like Frozen Throne, it came with a bunch of new units, it came with an entire new storyline and everything. While when you buy a DLC, it's like you're buying like a dungeon that like barely fits into the game. And it's like this thing that like pops up when you're going into town, and it's like, hey, by the way, there's this new dungeon that popped up over there. Go check it out. And I'm like, okay, that's the DLC. You know? I hate that. I absolutely hate that. It is so lame. But yeah, we are done here. Don't need to pay double. So we want to go to Kotrar. I actually like playing this game quite a lot. I don't think it's like a great game. I think it's a very slow burn, and most things in the game could be a bit better. Like, crew combat isn't good, companion combat isn't good, and but like I really like this kind of game. This is my kind of game. But the whole time it just makes me want to open up Unity instead. And that also to me means playing some other games for some research purposes. Because I kind of want to make something similar to this, but I guess kind of like a Victoria thing or Crusader Kings-ish. Because I think that would be really easy to make. It's such a basic thing. Like, you just write a bunch of things and then just make some things you can click on, and that's it. More or less. I like novel games. I wish this had more CRPG feel. I don't really. I mean, it would be cool. I don't want to be able to like move around like it was in a CRPG. Like I really don't want that. Because I think it's too much. I like the companion combat and the way crew combat kind of... the idea behind it. I just don't like it in practice. Because I just don't think that the mechanics that go into what they have made really make it good, right? Like the concept is fine, or the idea, the execution is lacking. That's my only issue. Otherwise, I kind of would like it to be kind of like this. But being able to walk around would also be cool. You know, like Pathfinder. But I think that is too difficult, really. It's gonna pull too much away from everything else. For a small developer. Sudden gales and odd winds are no strangers to wanderers of the wasteland, such as you, but even you have to admit that there is something different about these gusts. It is almost as if there were voices on the wind, barely audible, just beyond the threshold of perception. Whispers. People stop in their tracks to listen and frown in concentration. The whole experience is quite unnerving. You calm them, ordering everyone to focus and get a move on. The crew trudges on, trying not to think about it. Eventually the wind dies down. Oh, the writhing oasis. I feel like that's dangerous. I don't want to go there. I want to try making like a game like Crusader Kings. But it's actually like a single player story game where you're not playing necessarily a nation or like a certain king that then leads into a dynasty. Rather, you're just playing a king or like a leader, and then there's like a CRPG like storyline. Instead of it becoming a map painter, it's like a CRPG in the shape of a map game. Something like that. We killed the sandworms. Oh. But this weekend it's Easter, and then I have to go and do things. And we definitely won't be doing anything this weekend. The Comitatus approaches the village of Kotra, home to the eponymous tribe of wind-worshipping nomads. Under palm trees and countless windmills, the white houses of the Sadirar sit under the cruel sun, whipped by constant gales. Do you find them here? The many white and light blue banners flapping in the strong constant wind, as well as the laughter and singing in the village, betray that the Kotrar are here, resting between journeys. Time to settle down with the comitatus and pay them a visit. Right, we found some dudes. They have ivory. Is the ivory price here might be okay? I'm not sure. About the dice. No, that's better in Larnac. Though, I don't know if they really sell it in Larnac. Better in Mirage. Iosian Quarry. It's because this is the thing. I hate the price history. Like, I wish they fixed this. Like, it is so bad. Because it doesn't indicate whether they actually sell something. It just shows like a price. So you don't know, like, okay, can I buy that there? Like, you don't know. Usually if a price is good, that's because they have an abundance. But not always. Sometimes it's just because they don't want it there. So it's really hard to tell. Sometimes. We want to go Abernum. Windswept Village, home of the Kotrar tribe. You enter the confines of Kotrar, where the Comitatus camps outside. The village is remarkably spacious and open, having been built so that the desert winds can go freely, stirring the countless small windmills and white banners at all times. For this reason, Kotrar is a dusty windswept place, but the locals seem to like it so. Trade with the villagers. Medical supplies. Awnings. Kotrar Wind Talisman. Ooh. Imped Resistance. Don't know what that means. Let's buy it. Imped, I think. Tribal Trinkets. Bad price. Petition for an audience with the shamans. The wind shamans of the Kotrar tribe are the undisputed leaders of their people. Most travelers seek their favor, for they, like the elements they worship, can reach faraway places and travel fast. The daily gathering of Kotrar's most influential shamans can be attended by outsiders as well, so you enter the large open plaza surrounded by stone pillars where the meeting takes place. Inside it is drafty and surprisingly cool. The shamans sit and stand around the square, taking in hushed tones and listening to guests. After a lengthy discussion of what the wind spirit commands, you get the chance to address the shamans. You think about what to ask from them. Ooh, that's nice. Ask about Kotrar. A seasoned shaman turns to you and starts to speak about his people. We are the Kotrar of the Sadirar people. Our ancestors survived the great disaster that destroyed the tribes of the forgotten people that poisoned the land. Before the skies opened, and the calamity was sent to the world, our ancestors heeded the warning of the great spirits and hid underground. Later, the spirits led our ancestors out of the caves and across the searing plains. They showed us how to survive and where to live. The Kotrar are travelers and traders, brave souls who journeyed farthest and widest in the endless deserts and fields of hot rocks, even to foreign lands beyond what are the ancestral home of our people. Thus, Wind Spirit adopted us, and we adopted it. We command the gales and skies above the land, when we need to. We bring news, scout ways unknown to others, and commune with the creatures of the heavens. And we, like all the 4 tribes, send emissaries to the village of Sadirar, who guide our people in matters that concern all of us. The other shamans nod in agreement as the one talking to you concluded his speech. Ask him if the Aetrar are their enemies. We are not enemies with any of our own, the shaman tells you with a faint smile. Just because we follow wind spirit and they follow earth spirit, and these elements are considered diametrically opposed in certain religions, does not mean we don't work together well. There is a balance that the great spirits strive for, and we need all the 4 tribes to maintain that balance. It is in nobody's interest to repeat the great disasters of the past, and so we are allies and friends to the other tribes, even though our ways are our own, and we share a bloody history. Wind spirit and earth spirit are not enemies, they complement each other. You bow your head as a sign of understanding. Ask about the crazed winds. You address the shamans and ask them what they know of the madness-inducing frantic winds. As those closest to the wind spirit, they should be experts when it comes to such phenomena. The shamans give each other knowing looks, then, once the oldest nod their approval, they tell you what they know. It came from that accursed desert in the south and east from our lands, the one where wind spirits have always been deranged. One of the more senior shamans explains. This sickness and anger that permeates the skies, and the gales there then spread to neighboring lands, on and on until they stirred up mad winds almost everywhere. Places that were already in turmoil were hit the worst. The great ashen plains in the northeast, the black desert where the rare winds claim the souls of those that dare disturb its dead silence, the great whirlwind to the east. We consulted the Kalrish nomads and the Ashman exiles, who also confirmed this. The Sadirar are still debating what to do, still looking into what made the wind spirits go mad. If you know more, do tell us, Wanderer. You think about what you heard. Okay. So it is going to be that I have to go down south and deal with the problem in order to be able to go anywhere else. So I am going to have to go outside of the smuggler gameplay into more like mercenary gameplay in order to be able to continue, I think. I don't think that I have a choice. Because the Empire is not going to be able to deal with it on their own. It's just going to be a stalemate forever. I think it is almost time. 10 minutes, yeah. Ask about Ventulium. We know of the place, an older shaman informs you. Despite its remoteness from our deserts, we consider it a holy site, for the wind spirits there sing the sad song of the wasteland, for those that know what to listen to. You ask them if the Kotrar carved the stone, to which she shakes her head. Unfortunately, we cannot take credit for it. We cannot even ask the spirits of the wind there, because they only reveal themselves in the form of music played by the spire. Whoever it was must have had purpose, but we know not what. Ah, that's this thing. This thing. Ventulium. Go to the shaman's court. Ask for a blessing. The shamans discuss this briefly among themselves. Then one of them, an older shaman, turns to you. You are not yet touched by the wind spirit, and so not yet friend of the Kotrar. If that is your wish, if you want our blessing, prove to us that you are worthy. Take on the trial of the winds. Another shaman, a younger one, raises her hand. There is something a wanderer like the Vagrus could do for us in place of the trial. We are concerned about the mad winds, and we would like to seek out its source. For that, some of us would have to be taken there. Would you be willing to do this? The Kotrar shamans agree that this would qualify as the trial, should you do it. Oh, okay. I guess. You tell the shamans that you will take up the task. There is a murmur of approval that washes over the gathering in the hall. We know that it all started in the distant desert they call the Singing Winds. Four of our best shamans volunteered to go there, listen to the wind, commune with the spirits, and come back to us with whatever they can find out. You are to take them there, to the middle of the region. They will know what to do from there. The 4 shamans joined your comitatus shortly after meeting with the shamans. Alright. That is progressing. So where the singing winds? Here? Here. Trial of the Winds. Damn, that is far, bro. So we'll have to go to the Howling City. Levianth's Demise. So I am thinking Potrar, Vitrar, Utvarar, Avernum. Then we go like Larnac, Mirage, Crystal, Lumen. I guess the question is, well, I think here, once we get to Lumen, we'll have to make a judgment call whether going back to Torzag or just rushing this shit is the better option. I think just going to Torzag and then just going there, Twin Towers, Death Incarnate maybe, would make sense. Because that way we could just fully stock up on supplies. Although I do have a fucking dragon steel thing in my inventory, but I think that's fine. We are in where? Kotrar. Why does it not show? Why does it not open up the place I'm at? No. Nothing is worth buying here. Herbs. No. Why did it reset to Aker's Quarry? Oh shit, I'm so confused. What was I even looking at? Dice. No. Herbs. No. Mm-hmm. Utvarar. No, we want to go to Vitra. I don't want to go to the Riding Oasis, I think. I imagine that's a dangerous place. It's very green. Black dwarf left. Oh yeah, water shamans, blah 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 blah. The water shamans, leaders of the Vitrar tribe, oversee the waters of the lakes and caverns in the protected oasis. They are calm and peaceful just like the element they worship, and are always open to talking to outsiders. The council hall is a great wooden building that stands on stilts over the largest lake of the oasis. Many steps lead down into the waters, and there are countless pools inside the spacious halls. Carpets and banners in 100 hues of blue and green cover the walls, while vines climb the pillars and hang from roof beams. Acolytes offer you fresh, cool water as a token of greeting, and lead you into the council chamber, where the water shamans sit in a pool lit by fluorescent algae. After discussing urgent matters, the shamans turn to you and ask you kindly how they can be of assistance to you and your crew. Make your case to the shamans. Tell them you would like to procure a bottle of Ulalud. The shamans have a little chuckle between themselves and inform you that Ulalud is a medicine for shamans, one that induces dream quests and spirit dreams. You tell them that you are more than aware of its other uses and would pay well for a single bottle. But then Borax steps in and begins speaking in the Sedirar language. You notice that the younger shamans are astonished, but the older ones merely exchange knowing looks. The senior shaman then turns to you and tells you that they are willing to sell you a single bottle of Ulalud, but not for coin. Instead, they want you to gather Sedirar bone necklaces. Oh shit, I just sold like all of them. I had like 40. I imagine the Writhing Oasis is like that overgrown plant vault in New Vegas. I honestly don't know what that is. I haven't played New Vegas since it came out. But I can imagine what that means. And yeah, I just imagine it's, you know, angry, writhing, poisonous plants that's gonna like spit poison at me and kill me. That's what I imagine. A fantasy Brazilian jungle. Upon asking Borax about his little performance, he winks. I've been around for centuries, boss. Got a few tricks up my sleeve. Well, if I had a sleeve. But you get the picture. Well, you have a sleeve, bro. You don't you? You have a sleeve. You actually have a sleeve. We'll work out the deal with the shamans. So they want 6 Sadirar bone necklaces. Okay. Okay. Yep. I had like 40, I think. Ask for healing. The Vitrar are masters of that fading art. Heal the green pox. What? Green pox is no joke. It can spread to other people easily if left unchecked. Which of your companions do you wish to heal? And nobody has that. Ask for their blessing. The shamans discuss this briefly among themselves. Then one of them, an elder shaman, turns to you. You have not yet been initiated by Water Spirit, and so you are not yet a close friend of the Vitrar. If that is your wish, If you want our blessing, prove to us that you are worthy. Take on the trial of the waters, something that members of our tribe do frequently. Would you be willing to do this? I imagine this is going to be visiting like every oasis. Take on the trial. You tell the shamans that you will take up the trial of the waters. There is a murmur of approval that washes over the gathering in the hall. There is something you could help us with more than anyone else, Wanderer, an older shaman tells you. One of our own, a well-respected shaman known for her unusual methods, has gone to the writhing oasis to be our eyes in that dreadful place. It is on the edge of our lands and shunned by our people, but she was adamant to seek it out, to see if a threat has risen there. Perhaps it was clairvoyance, but she has failed to return for a long time now. Her name is Denekar. Find her. She must have built a shelter nearby. Place this outside her shelter, otherwise she will not reveal herself, if she is alive. They give you a small effigy made of blue feathers and dried plants. Come back to us when you learn what happened, the old shaman tells you. Taking the effigy and nodding, you begin to plan a journey in your head, when a younger shaman puts her hand on your shoulder and adds, Be wary, Wanderer. The spirits of that place went mad. Do not enter the oasis unless you know exactly what you are doing. You tell the shamans that you will look into this carefully. Alright. Here they have supplies out the ass. I feel like some things, like this place is good. Here they sell things quite cheap. We are in... This is Vitrar. Herbs are good here, I think. Grain is good here. Dried fruit is not great here. I think Mirage is the only good place for dried fruit. I think dyes are good here. Kind of. But I need to be back in a little bit. Honestly, I need to take a little bit of a break here, but I also don't want to turn the stream off. I just need to go and fetch my laundry. And I also need to... This is gonna sound retarded, but I need to pay my bills. Because I forgot. Anyway, I'll be right back. All right. So, my evening is gonna be fucked. Or my night, basically. Where's my phone again? So, yeah. Yeah, I've been doing laundry all day. And unfortunately, the last batch of clothing I had in the dryer was in there for like 2 hours, and it was still like damp. So I had to clean up the entire dryer and empty out all the collectors and shit. And now it needs to be there for maybe like another 30 minutes. And after that, I need to do 2 more batches in the dryer, which is gonna take like 2 to 3 hours. And it's already almost 11. Yes, so do we buy some herbs here? Some grain. Some chitin. And then we just leave it at that while we go up to this oasis place. Take it. Actually, yeah, no, it is. We got 1 insight. We have 14 insight. Who do I level up? I feel like I should level someone up. Krifta? Maybe? Aimed shot? Aimed shot is like the only thing I keep spamming right now. And it can get armor ignore. Here we can get poison. But I'm not too impressed by this skill. I think I'm just gonna give her aimed shot. That needs dexterous 4 and perceptive 4. That's a lot of points. That's really all she got. 0 proficiency left. Alright. That's gonna be that. Now, Ilani is probably just gonna bail sooner or later, like she hates me. I think I'm gonna level up Garrick. So, can he get accuracy here? Gadgeteer, 3 accuracy. That's it. That needs prowess 5, which we don't have. It needs savvy 3. So pistol shot needs perceptive 3. Lock and load is 5 accuracy. I'll take that. And then this is gonna need dexterous 3, perceptive 4. We can get him up to dexterous 3. Gadgeteer needs savvy 3. Sure. Okay. Garrick is now Giga leveled. Let's see. Pistol shot has 66 accuracy. Lock and load gives 20 accuracy. So let's see. Yeah, okay. So he has an accuracy of 26 with pistol shot now. Or 86. Which is not that good. It's kind of bad. But I guess it's fine. Because it's such a big deal when he misses. Like, that's the issue. If he misses, it's like a critical miss every time he misses. Once a tranquil glade of pristine lakes and billowing palm trees in a volcanic basin, the oasis transformed into a twisted, corrupted, noxious mass of plant life that moves in ways no flora should. No sane soul enters as this place is death. The perimeter. You do not dare approach further. Now I do, after saving. As if you stepped into another world, the vicinity of the oasis proper is a wet, humid, grassy place, in stark contrast with the surrounding desert. The only commonality is that the air is still scorching hot. Beyond the hills, the writhing oasis squirms in a large basin. Use magical scrying on the oasis. Arcane scrying paints a horrifying image of the oasis. It is as if the writhing, stinking, mewling mass of plants in the basin was interwoven with veins and arteries of magical energy, albeit of a corrupted, afflicted sort. Then there is a faint resonance not unlike a thought. A terrifying sense of madness overwhelms this strange construct, and makes any observer turn away after a few painful moments. A very odd sensation. Scout the perimeter. A sweep along the edge of the basin reveals something interesting. Many have come here before, and most of them left warnings to those that follow them. Totems, signs, waystones belonging to a dozen different cultures. Dajmahan, Tarkian, Sadirar, Dwarven, and even Elven. All of them communicate the same meaning. Stay away or die. Your scouts also find a hut hidden among dense but relatively regular foliage. There is no indication as to who built this shelter, but it is certain that it is inhabited. Look around inside the hut. The hut has stone walls and a thatched roof. It only contains the bare minimum required for living in the wilds, perhaps indicating that this is a temporary or seasonal shelter. Whoever lives here seems to be from the Sadirar tribes, as proven by the items and meager decorations. There is no sign of activity here in the last several days, however. Ah, shit. No, I did set an alarm. I don't know if 30 minutes is going to be enough. This must be Denikar's hut. Place the effigy you received in front of the hut and wait. Evening creeps up on you as the blood-red sun is setting over the eastern horizon. You're about to give up waiting when a lone figure emerges from the twilight. walking from the direction of the oasis itself. As it comes closer, you can see that it is a lean older woman with a decisive stride, carrying a quarterstaff. Her dark green attire, decorated with feathers and small crystals, singles her out as a Sadarar shaman. "I am the one called Denikar," the woman says once she walks up to you, then indicates the effigy with her staff. "And according to this, you have been looking for me in the name of my fellow shamans in Vitrar." You confirm this and tell her that you were sent to find her and report what happened to her, as well as what she has been up to. "I can tell you what I've been up to," she says nonchalantly and beckons you to join her inside the hut. Once there, she lights a pitcher and sits down, massaging the bridge of her nose for a few moments before producing some odd-looking fruits and seeds from her sling bag and putting them on the table. One grows several tentacles and tries to crawl away, but Denikar stabs it with a knife, fixing it to the wood. There it remains, squirming tirelessly. "This is what I've been up to," she says warily. "The oasis rides relentlessly, everyone knows that, but now I believe that the whole bloody thing is gaining momentum. As if some unseen force has disturbed it, or else it ascended after a period of gestation." You point out to Denikar that she is talking about the oasis as if it was a single creature. "But it is," she tells you, looking into your eyes. "I came here to verify that and observe its expansion after travelers and shamans told us tales of it happening. Well, we came here, my apprentice Thula and I. She went missing yesterday while out collecting samples in the oasis. I have to find her, and you are going to help me." You begin to argue that you did what they asked you to do, but she just shakes her head. "The only way you will complete the trial of the waters is if I enchant the effigy you received, and I won't do it unless you help me get Thula back. Come back when you are ready and we'll depart. I'd try it alone, but I'd rather have a few escorts, Vagrus. Don't make me wait too long." You leave Denikar's presence to prepare. Visit Denikar. Tell her you are ready to accompany her into the oasis. Denikar glances up from her work. "Are you sure? Once we set out, there is no going back. Gather your best and tell Denikar that you are ready." Yeah, I think something like this. The shaman packs her gear expeditiously, and in a few minutes the two of you set out accompanied by your most trusted companions. Denikar's vast experience with the oasis shows even during your approach. She takes odd angles to enter and waits a few minutes before actually setting foot in the basin to observe how the writhing mass of grown-together plants undulate while growing menacingly. Once under the flesh plant canopy, the group makes its way carefully over the living terrain. Eyes and feelers follow your movement. Strange insects buzz around your heads, and a nigh unbearable stench makes you gag everywhere you go. Denekar picks a path among the dangers gingerly, testing the ground for hidden pockets of quicksand with her staff, avoiding the more menacing mutated plants. She regularly throws pebbles ahead to check if the air is somehow compromised, or else to detect unseen arcane anomalies. After a while, the shaman stops the group for a short breather. You find a cluster of ripe-looking, sweet-smelling, orange-colored fruit hanging from the branches of a bush that looks harmless. I wouldn't, Denekar tells you, but that does not stop you in any other way. Take the fruit? The fruit looks succulent and inviting, so you take some for later. Unbeknownst to you, the orange orb dissolves into a sweet-smelling goo in your sling bag, and although it does not harm leather or skin, your metal coins are dissolved in it. No. The group presses on after the short break. I lost one bros, which isn't that big of a deal. The group presses on after the short break, and Denekar tells you that you're getting closer to the place where her apprentice was going, and failed to return from. But soon after you get moving again, you're all overcome by an eerie sensation. It begins as a feeling of being watched, but grows more and more oppressive with each moment. Then one by one you start to experience a sudden headache, and your heart pounds unnaturally in your chest. Denekar looks worried, her gaze darting around the writhing grove as if expecting something terrifying to jump you any moment. It's here, she whispers in dread. Crouching at the foot of a tree, she orders all of you to surround her and begins chanting quietly, stabbing her staff into the soft, squelching ground. The spell is cast, and she signals you not to move. You can now feel a presence as if something unseen was looking for you, its vast mind seeking your hiding place. Yet nothing is visible, and you suspect that Denekar's spell is hiding you from this thing. After a few tense minutes that feel like hours, the presence disappears, and the oppressing feeling is gone with it. Denekar rises to her feet. We better go. It might come back. You ask her what it was, but she shakes her head, already looking for a path across the writhing terrain. I don't know. I only know that it can't see through my spell, and I'm not sure about you, but me, I don't want to find out more. You have no choice but to follow her. Deeper and deeper you go. A quarter of an hour later, the group is crossing a large open field covered by shallow water. Unfortunately, tentacle-like lianas and roots squirm under the surface, and so you have to walk on tussocks. At length you reach the far side, but just as you do, one of your combs suddenly curses. You turn to see your companion standing a few feet away, looking at what seems to be a barely visible silver cord, much like spider silk, hanging just across their chest. Shit! Don't! The shaman tries to speak, but your companion moves and breaks the cord. There is a surprisingly loud tearing sound, then silence. Nothing happens for a few moments, and you begin to hope that you're safe, but then you realize that a low buzzing sound is getting louder and louder, and then they are upon you. A cloud of tiny flying insects falls upon your group like a hammer, flying into your mouths and eyes, biting and stinging everyone. In moments they are crawling under your clothes, and panic overwhelms all of you. Garrick can dissipate them with a gas bomb, and Nadir can burn them with her arcane fire. Yes. Praise the gods, it works! The insect cloud is repelled, but you keep swatting stragglers until Denekar utters a spell that dissipates the rest. Got to be more careful than that, she hisses after all the bugs are gone, then begins striding in the direction you were originally going towards. You follow Denekar deeper into the oasis. At length, you make your way to a quiet clearing surrounded by trees that lean on one another, looking like gnarly old men, except that they are grown together in strange ways. Here, Half assimilated into one of the trees, you finally find the corpse of Denikar's apprentice, Thula. Judging from the odd position of her arms and legs, she must have fused with the tree while still alive. Poor thing, Denikar says affectionately, then warns you, do not touch her. The shaman steps closer and cuts Thula's sling bag off of the corpse tree, then looks inside it. Good girl, you found them, she whispers under her breath. Before you could comment, the eerie sensation from before returns suddenly, only it is much more potent this time. Denikar gasps as the headache tears into your temples and begins to cast her spell. But it is too late. The unseen presence is here. You can feel it. It takes hold of you all. Unable to move, unable to speak, you can feel its dreadful will enter your mind. Oblivion engulfs you. As the darkness clears, you find yourself standing alone under palm trees and a sky full of stars. The air is cool and busy with the night noises of the oasis. On the horizon to your right is a reddish glow, perhaps indicating the closeness of the lava fields of the Molten Tongue. Could this be the writhing oasis? Surely not, or at least not as you have seen it. You realize that you cannot move, but your body moves on its own. Is it even your body? When you see your hands and feet, you do not recognize them. There is a strong emotion weighing on your chest, a mixture of sadness, regret, doubt, but also hope. After standing in the tranquil clearing for a few minutes, you begin to walk and soon reach a grove of palms. There you kneel and place your sling bag on the ground, then open it. Take a small silver box out of it and unlock it using a small key, hanging from a leather string around your neck. You murmur a chant in a foreign language, then open the box. Inside is a palm-sized, fleshy, sickly green lump that looks like a seed or pod, gently squirming in the starlight. A sting of doubt and fear almost overwhelms you, but then you pluck the lump out of the box. It feels soft, warm, and beats faintly like a heart. Thin feelers emerge from the pod and wrap around your hand. Surprisingly, you think to yourself and begin to untangle yourself, trying to place the seed on the ground, but it just does not want to let go. And then something pierces your skin. You cry out in pain and surprise. Then another stab, and another. Your heart is pounding now that you try to get rid of the pod that has latched onto your hand. Thin, but inexplicably strong tentacles growing, climbing up your arm. And the pain intensifies by the second. A root-like appendage breaks out of the pod and stabs into the ground, expanding with unbelievable speed. Having now fixed you to this spot, you are trapped. This was not supposed to happen. The pain begins to rise in intensity and your body begins to shake uncontrollably. Betrayal. Panic, the realization of becoming. You awaken with a startled cry. You all awaken. Denikar, your companions and you, and find yourself lying on the ground of the clearing where you found Thula's corpse. The presence is gone, but your head is still swimming due to the strange vision you saw. Or was it a memory? So you've seen it too, Denikar says once she sees your expression. You look up to the corpse of Thula, but the shaman shakes her head. Wasn't her you saw. It was a man. Long ago, I think. Let's get out of this place as fast as we can and then we'll talk. I've got the sample and there's nothing I can do for Thula, so there's no reason to tarry. And so you do, according to Denikar. Retracing your steps is a bad idea here, so she finds an alternative way out of the oasis. Due to some miracle, or the love of the gods, or luck, you all make it out without further complications, and collapse on the ground next to the shaman's hut in exhaustion. Once you regain some of your vigor, you join Denikar inside the hut, where she offers you water and the opportunity to talk about what happened back there. The two of you sit down and stare ahead in silence for the most part. Eventually you ask Denikar what she thinks you saw. That presence, she begins. It is conscious like a mind, or so I felt. Perhaps it is connected to what we saw. But why we saw it, why it left, I do not know. I'm sorry if I cannot supply the answers you're looking for, Vagrus. I'm also stumbling in the dark here. You ask Denikar what Thula had to find. The shaman frowns. I was looking for samples of rare seeds that could explain some of the events here. Seeds not unlike the one we saw in the memory. I didn't ask Thula to get them because I knew how dangerous it could be, but we got separated, and I think she took it upon herself to find one, and it killed her. Still shaken by the trip, you ask Denikar why she needed you in the first place. The shaman hesitates before speaking. To be honest, I was expecting the presence to emerge. It usually does once you go so deep, and I knew that I won't be able to hold it back alone. More minds are harder to overcome, you see. I was right. You ask her if she was using Thula the way she was using you, if it were only the samples she was interested in. You have the gall to ask me that, she frowns, but her disdain quickly evaporates. I won't deny it. I expected to find Thula dead, so you might be right in a manner of speaking. But before you jump to conclusions, know that securing the seed sample is a matter of life and death. Without them, my research is useless, and this place might not wait too long before it causes grief to my people. And don't try to deny that you're here because of your own agenda either. I wanted the samples. You wanted the blessing of the Vitrar. Everybody wins, and all of us are alive. She then reaches her right hand out to you. The effigy, she says, and once you give it to her, she imbues it with her shamanic powers. Now you can return to Vitrar. Tell them what happened here, please. As for me, I will return to my research. You can now return to Vitrar for the shaman's blessing. Talk to Denikar about herself. What is there to say? The old woman shrugs, refusing to take her eyes off her samples. I am a shaman serving water spirit. If you ask my people, they will say that my methods are strange, that my mind is my own. But that is because they refuse to see. Not all of us serve water spirit the same way, or understand the great spirits as others do. I, for one, have visited many strange lands, and learned from other races and people. I don't speak like the Vitrar shamans, and I don't think like them. That is exactly what we need in these trying times, you see. Ask her about her forays into the oasis. Denikar looks up from her work and pierces you with her gaze. When you do not back down, she smiles. I don't even know where to begin. Although I have not been here for long, it feels like years. And all the while I've been making trips into the oasis. I've learned quite a few tricks, but most important one is this. Nothing is what it seems, especially if you have seen it before. Think twice before reacting. Provided the damned place gives you time to react, such mistakes can kill you. She goes on talking about her experiences at length, what paths to take, what to avoid, where to step, what plants are safe, and so on. By the end your head hurts and you are sure about one thing only. The Writhing Oasis is one of the most dangerous places you could visit on a continent of dangerous places. I still advise you against going in yourself, or at least don't go in deep, Denikar concludes. Maybe you can root around in the areas on the border of the oasis. There's enough there to make it worthwhile. Herbs and rare plants, if that is your interest. Talk about something else. Delve into the outer regions of the oasis for herbs. Making even a short trip into the outer reaches of the Writhing Oasis is considered suicidal. But after consulting Denikar, who has done it on countless occasions, you feel confident that you could survive the ordeal and perhaps even profit from it. Still, you would be a fool to delude yourself into believing that this is merely a walk in a scenic location. On the contrary, a venture like this will certainly test a variety of your skills and those of your comrades. Once you reach the tree line, if it can even be called that, and find a way into the writhing mass of grown-together, breathing, pulsating vegetation, things become weird very quickly. Follow Denikar's instructions as much as you can. Yeah, I mean, I'm super good at this shit. You spend a couple of hours carefully exploring the area just inside the confines of the oasis, making little progress due to being overly careful. Occasionally, your party gets scared by a writhing mass of flora or odd eye stalks, or a moving, spry plant or some other inexplicable phenomenon, but nobody gets hurt. There must be a safer way to gather rare herbs, but in the end you re-emerge from this horrid place with some plants in your pack. Praising your luck, you leave the oasis behind. 4 herbs, 1 bogweed. That's trash. That's so ass, dude. That like barely even pays for the stay here. Like that's less money than staying here. What's a herb worth? Like nothing. Walk into the writhing oasis. I'm tempted to do that. Let's save first though. The writhing oasis is an unknowable, dreaded place according to all rumors. Even going closer, you feel the revolting stench and see the squirming mass of plants in the basin that once was an oasis. The place feels unnatural and eerie beyond description. Are you sure you would risk going in? Hell yeah, let's fucking go. I'm probably gonna die here. Let's go anyway. Your party enters the confines of the writhing oasis. Under the thick, undulating, grown-together canopy is a poisonous swamp illuminated by strange lights and inhabited by stranger creatures. Plant-like, but bearing the features of animals, or in some cases even people. Eyes, mouths, tentacles, gnarly arms appear on them in the weirdest places. Noxious clouds of gas float over the murky water's surface wherever you turn. After trudging through the swamp laboriously for what feels like an eternity, you order a short break. That is when the trouble starts. One of your scouts touches a blood-red growth on a moss-covered trunk, thinking it's some sort of fruit or mushroom. It explodes with a hissing sound, shooting a cloud of crimson spores into the air that most of the others breathe in before realizing what happened. You curse your luck and rush in to help the ones that are gasping for air, but then the transformation begins. Several of your combs start crying in agony, their bodies convulsing as red growths appear on them by the dozen. Some explode with spores, others merge to form mushroom clusters that twist their bodies out of their natural form, breaking bones and bending flesh, but keeping them alive. The hole in the place of the original growth shoots out a red tentacle covered in acid that wraps itself around another unfortunate crew member and squeezes the life out of the shrieking fellow. Others run in different directions, trying to get away from their half-mushroom combs, who are now chasing them down to cover them in spores. A scout gets scooped up by a huge tree with hands and gets crushed into a pulp in its gnarly embrace. The sound is sickening. You too turn to run and get surprisingly far. Your chest heaving, you try to hide between some trees. You feel a sting in your right hand and swat a mosquito, then stare in disbelief at the wound. It begins to show signs of rot immediately. Then the pain starts and begins wrecking your body. You fall back, convulsing wildly, landing in a pool of muddy water that begins to pull you down. At least drowning will stop the pain of rotting alive. You just instantly die if you go in there? Alright. Sure, I guess. There wasn't even a skill check, you just die. Instant. Alright, I'll be right back again. I need to go and deal with the laundry bullshit. And we're back again. Then we set another alarm for like an hour, which is probably not going to be enough. Anyhow, we died. Click, 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 son of a bitch. Ah, just go the whole way. Present them the effigy Denekar imbued. Once the shamans receive your enchanted effigy and hear your detailed report of what happened at the accursed writhing oasis, they chant a prayer to Water Spirit for protecting Denekar. Then the elders withdraw to discuss her startling discoveries further. You are left with the younger shamans, who now perform the blessing as a token of their gratitude. They submerge you gently into one of the sacred pools and sing songs of initiation until your ears hurt. At length you rise, soaking wet but blessed by their deity. You are now blessed by Water Spirit, Wanderer, the shaman leading the ceremony says, claiming that you are now a close friend of the tribe for having attained the blessing of their great spirit. But you can return to be blessed again. Go now, live, grow, and flow with your soul's calling. You are now accepted by the Vitrar. Alright. That's that. What was the plan? Utvrar, Avernum, Larnak, Mirage Crystal, and then maybe back to Torzag. Now we're partially defended. This is a huge amount of people. Nothing worth buying. Alright, so then we go to Utvarar. Ratharnak encampment. No, they're friendly. Think. Purchase a pile of beast lures. A handful of beast lures. How many fucking beast lures do I need? I have 44. I have 50 now. You tell the shamans that you will take up the trial of flame. There is a murmur of approval that washes over the gathering in the hall. First, approve your mettle to the village. A female shaman steps up to address you. Although this blessed ground is not threatened by the burrower horrors, we hear sad tales from the other tribes. Everyone who destroys these abhorrent unnatural creatures is a friend to all Zadirar. You agree to bring them a dozen trophies of the sandworms. Time to slay some worms. Present your sandworm trophies to the shamans. The conclave rejoices upon the sight of the gruesome trophies. They even sing a song of victory in your name. Then a young shaman presents you with a red feather attached to a piece of carved obsidian. You are ready to walk the path and seek the true trial. Take this and pass between the two lakes to the northwest of us, the ones you call Lake Gehennis and Flame Tear Lake. The old shaman drawls. You will come upon a ridge, and there you will find our Atukutrar, the exiled shamans who serve as judges of the trial. Show them the effigy and they will lead you to the path. Walk it with compassion, persistence, and courage. Fire Spirit will see your worthiness then. You take the effigy and tell them that you shall return. Bones are cheap here, I think. This is Utvorar. But bones aren't really valuable anywhere nearby, so it's a little like... don't really have anywhere I want to sell it. I think we're just gonna kind of take a loss. Avernum, Ash, Crystal. Partially defended is not good. Now have like 40 soldiers. Holy shit. Infinite guys just left us. Which means I'm gonna have to fire all of the guards now, which is fine. Oh, grain is in demand. Nothing else is, though. Scrap metal is in demand here, but it's still cheaper than it is anywhere else in the entire world. Mining equipment. Visiting Canis. Ask Incanus about Dai Corvas. The mage simply shakes his head. Dai Corvas, you say? No, never heard the name. Most likely the man has never gotten around to contact me. Unfortunately, I can't help you there. Nevertheless, thank you, master. Nadir tells him, but you can see that she is disheartened. Trinkets. We did not have an order. Smelt scrap. Now I am overburdened as fuck. Not really. That one just didn't feel like stacking. Copper. We'll just have to rest for the day. There. We're going to Crystal, Larnac, Lumen. Iron sells in Crystal. Bronze. Copper. Honestly, they're all the same profit margin. So if we just stack up the stacks, that's all that matters. We should maybe go past Ash. But it's so fucking far, man. It's just a matter of these things that I bought, like herbs and shit. Are just kind of useless here. And chitin sells in Ash, Crystal, Lumen. But that means, yeah, okay, so if we go to Larnac, we won't be able to sell there. What about in Mirage? If we get rid of Ash, Mirage. Titan sells in Mirage. Green doesn't. Herbs don't. Iron does, but it's better in crystal, which we're going to write after anyway. So it's really the herbs that are a bit of an issue. But maybe we'll just sell them off in Larnac, maybe. Because then we can buy Bright Kelp and sell that in Crystal and Mirage. It's also just supplies. Search for the herd. Daikorvas and his Kalrish supposedly came here. You mingle with the crowd of Avernum, hoping that you can learn something about Daikorvas and his herd, if they ever came here and did not perish in the wasteland. Your initial inquiries do not yield much in the way of information. It seems no one has heard of them. But then a merchant points you to the monks of Irophons, mentioning that if someone knows anything about travelers from distant lands, it would be them. And indeed, the monks know of the Kalrish. Yes, yes, I remember, one of them divulges. It was quite a while ago, but it wasn't a herd. Not when they arrived in Avernum. There were only 3 of them, desperate and sick with an unknown ailment, lamenting the fate of their perished herd. They carried charred bones, claiming that they were the remains of their fallen leader, Daikorvas, stayed at the infirmary for a while, but not for too long. Soon they succumbed to whatever plague befell them. You ask the monk how and where their bodies were disposed of. Strangely enough, they made some considerable donations to the Ashkalites, he replies. Thus, after their demise, their bones and those of their leader were interred in the ossuary of our city, if you wanted to pay your respects. Nadir is not too happy about the news. That is the work of the curse, she says, as you walk away from the monks of Irophons after thanking them for their assistance. What else could have destroyed that herd but hunting demons? Yet there might still be a way to locate the necklace. You ask her what she has on her mind. A lot, actually, the sorceress replies cryptically. But in this specific case, I am thinking of seeking out these remains. The dead can be compelled to speak, and I happen to know just enough necromancy to make an attempt. We should visit the ossuary, albeit only after thorough preparations. It is a hazardous enterprise to perform unlicensed necromancy in the holy place of the death god. Nadir looks too determined to argue with. Okay. That's why there's an ossuary. The Great Ossuary is a system of labyrinthine tunnels and great dark halls carved into the earth and rock beneath the necropolis. Many of the more wealthy are interned here, as it is believed that they are closer to Tartarus, and by extension, Ashkul, this way. Most of the ossuary is off limits, but a large section can be visited by the public. You walk through the halls lit by 1,000 candles, and filled with the remains of tens of thousands. Most of these bones are carefully placed in racks built into the walls, or on intricately carved stone slabs. Novices tend to the more recent or the oldest ones. The halls are kept very clean, and the air is cool inside. You find yourself sitting on stone benches and walking aimlessly, reading long inscriptions of names and deeds carved into the arches that lead to private crypts. The whole place makes you calm and contemplative. Bring Nadir and some of your companions down here to find the bones of Daikorvas. Before entering, you take a moment to consider what you're about to do. The ossuary is a place of peace, and visitors can generally move around freely. Yet performing necromancy is not something that Ashkulites will tolerate. You will have to be very careful and discreet. Before your companions accompany you into the vaults beneath the necropolis, you have to consider whom to take along. As Nadir keeps reminding you, discretion is of paramount importance for the task you're planning to accomplish. This time there is no strength in numbers. 4. You, and... Stalker 2. Sure. You. Accompanied by Nadir and your trusted Combs, you descend into the great ossuary. The acolytes of Ashkul do not bother you as you make your way through the halls. They have no reason to. You take the stairs to the vaults below after making sure nobody is looking. This is the section where the remains of the relatively recently deceased are kept, and there is a special system of tombs for those who made donations to the Church of Ashkul, which the Kalrish did if the monks of Irophons can be believed. The place is illuminated by rows and rows of candles. The walls are carved to form racks, each of which is filled with carefully placed skeletal remains. Unfortunately, they are not labeled in any way. No matter, Nadir comments in a whisper. I can still find what we are looking for. She raises her palms to her face and whispers something. Now let me have a look. She starts walking from shelf to shelf, examining each and every bone with her splendid gaze. It takes almost an hour, but eventually a small triumphant smile appears on her stern face. There they are, she whispers, pointing at a collection of bones tucked away in a dark corner. Some of them are charred. All of them belong to deceased Kalrish, complete with horns and hooved legs. I shall need some more time to consult with our perished Kalrish friends, Nadir adds. And so the rest of you keep on waiting and standing watch. Nadir lights a candle and places it on the ground. Then she kneels down in front of the pile of bones on the shelf, lowers her head and begins to chant quietly. Her voice is low and monotonous, and you cannot understand any of her words, only that she repeatedly mutters, "Remember." This goes on for a while, and you're beginning to get bored. Then suddenly all the candles go out in the chamber at once, except for Nadir's ritual candle. Odd shadows float in the sudden darkness, and you swear you can hear muted moaning. You feel uneasy. You make sure that Nadir is all right, and then you decide to take a stroll through the surrounding corridors. No need to impose on the dead more than necessary. You're sure that Nadir will tell you everything she learned once she's done with her ritual. You tell your Combs to tag along. While roaming the vault, you suddenly hear voices and the shuffling of feet. From behind a corner, a handful of Ashkulite acolytes appear. At first they seem perplexed, but then their leader addresses you. Greetings, visitor, to this holy place. This part of the great ossuary is closed to the public. Are you lost? May we assist you? You will need to divert their attention somehow, lest they stumble upon Nadir and disrupt her necromancy. Mention your ties to the Church of Ashkul, I guess. You take on your most haughty and aristocratic demeanor and ask the acolytes whether they know who you are. When they timidly reply that they do not, you refer to a few important and high-ranking Ashkulite priests you happen to know, not excluding the fact that you are in their favor. This shuts them up. Seizing the opportunity, you order them to go and clean the upper vaults. When they ask which ones exactly, you bark that you want all of them cleaned. The acolytes hurry away, and none too soon. From behind you, Nadir appears. "Chit-chatting, are we?" she asks with a smirk. Do not bother to reply. I have learned something of importance. But let us walk first. I grow weary of this dreadful place. I'll tell you everything while we move. She tries to appear calm, but you can tell she is furious. While you do your best to leave the ossuary's innermost vaults as nonchalantly as you can, Nadir explains to you what she has learned. The ritual was successful, the sorceress claims. The dead spoke to me. They had no choice. The herd indeed had the necklace. It was interred with them, but it was taken away. By whom, you ask? That remained vague, she replies. After all, the dead are not omniscient. I got only hazy impressions about a group of necromancers, or maybe mages. What I know for sure is that they were all females. She can barely contain her rising anger. As you turn a corner, you find yourselves in a mid-sized burial chamber. 3 black-cloaked slender women stand there, waiting. Nadir rolls her eyes. Mystery solved. I should have guessed that it would be them. One of the robed figures steps forward. "We are here to warn you," she speaks. "Do not proceed further. The amulet is in our possession and shall remain so. Abandon your search, wench, else you shall be undone." Thus speaks the Sisterhood. Splendid. Fucking Nosferatis. Nadir mutters so only you can hear. Then she raises her voice. "Listen here, sisters. I have a bad case of demonic harassment, and that amulet, as you called it, seems to be my only way to put an end to it. Under no circumstances will I abandon my search for it, so either you tell me right now where you ladies have taken it, or face the consequences." Instead of an answer, the hooded woman produced thin, sharp blades from underneath their robes. At that moment, some of the bone piles next to them form into tall homunculi. Nadir sighs. What did I expect? All right. What was that? They were moaning. Garrick, blow them up. Miss, you fucking... That attack, like the dash attack, it's kind of ass, but it's also really good. Oh my god, you fucking killed her in one turn? Fuck you. What am I supposed to do with that? I'm just dead now. I can't do this with just 3 characters, I think. I mean, maybe. Depends on if they're just gonna crit me for 9 damage. Like, what the hell? You can't? Oh, she's down, so you can't do it there? Oh, come on. I'm gonna lose this just because she critted. Or she got critted in the head. Fuck you. Four healing. 3 healing. Come on, dude. That's more healing than I can do fucking damage, dude. I do 3 to 4 damage. Oh, crit. Okay, thank you. This encounter might be like literally undoable for me unless I can just crit them in the back row. I would have to do... Actually, I can do this. It's just... Now that it's all fucked, it's fucked. But you need to do like a kick with Harvick and kick these guys back. If... Yeah, they are movable. So that's like... That's what you need to do. But if you can't kill the necromancers, then you can't actually out DPS the golems. Is the issue. At least not with shit characters. But like they do like twice as much damage as I do. Yeah, it's over. That's too hard for me. What am I supposed to do? If I bring Vorax and Harvick, it's doable, potentially. So we can try again. If we just click through, it's fine. Like that. Because then Vorax can also taunt them forward. And if they get taunted forward, that wastes like all of their turns. Let us see. But that's annoying, because that means I can't actually do what I just said. Oh my god. Oh, they failed. Fuck you. Alright, one down. Almost two down. Oh, she failed. Ouch. She's supposed to be dying. Unless she decides not to. Oh, we did it. Alright. The Nosferatis fight like furies, chanting dreadful blood spells, but eventually you manage to overcome them. Nadir grabs the last one to fall by the collar. "Where is my necklace?" she hisses. But instead of an answer, the sister just coughs up blood, then dies. Nadir tosses her lifeless body away and curses. You remind her that you must leave the ossuary before the Ashkalites discover you. The sorceress obeys reluctantly, and you flee, coming into contact with nobody. Then, at last, find yourselves on the streets of Avernum. Once you get some distance between yourselves and the ossuary, Nadir leans against a wall, resting her palms on her knees. "I cannot believe this," she is almost hysterical. "That accursed necklace keeps slipping away from me no matter what I do. I'm truly accursed, and fucking Nosferatis of all." You tell her to compose herself and ask her what her thoughts are on how to proceed. She laughs bitterly. "Well, one thing is certain," she says. "Those whores of the Nosferatis sisterhood sure seemed like they knew what they were looking for. They just got there first, so it appears feasible that we must find them." You ask her if she knows where. Nadir shakes her bald head. "Not me," she replies, calmer now, "but during my travels I have made an acquaintance of a priestess of Balur Kal, who currently resides in Larnak. She has had connections to the sisterhood, and I sincerely hope that she can point us in the right direction. There is a good chance that she will ask for something in return, however. That is the way it goes. It appears that Larnak is the next destination in the hunt for Nadir's trinket." Alright. This thing didn't ring, did it? No. 30 minutes. Whew. Alright. I think we'll stop here. We need to head down to Larnak now. We do have a thing here, Trial of Flame. We could go do that, I guess. Kind of shit, but we could just buy supplies in Utvar, go there, Vitrar, Larnak. I have so much money now that going on a little bender or whatever doesn't really matter that much. It's more about the supplies. But yeah, it's getting late. I need to go and deal with the laundry again soon, and I think I have some other things I actually need to do, even though it's midnight. But yeah. Until next time, thanks for hanging. Have a good night. Bye-bye.